And I had to learn this the hard way, because when I first started my business, I thought I was selling a good, when actually I was selling a service with a good attached. And I'll go into detail a little bit later. But the importance of knowing the foundation of economics is so you can understand how your goods or service can satisfy a want or need. Seriously, all ideas need to be defined as a commodity, and so you can build a sales strategy around it. And since a commodity is a marketable item, the 4 essentials to any business idea or sales strategy, it starts with marketing. And marketing is the 4 Ps. Forget what anyone has told you. Marketing is not advertising. It's not all these things. It's product, price, promotion, and placement. Your product is what you're selling. You've got to know that you're turning your idea into a good or service. This is your product. And to get to your product, you've got to ask yourself, who is it for? Who is going to use it? Who will buy it? And what problem do you solve? Your price is, what does it cost? And if it's a good, how much does it cost to make? And if it's a service, then how long does it take to make, right? Consider time and materials when you're thinking about your price. But price also includes the cost of how you make money. So now you're considering in your business, is this by retainer? Is it a deposit? Is it all up front? What's the cost of doing business? And is there a wholesale or distributor or shipping that you need to consider when coming up with your price? This ultimately helps you understand how to charge your product, okay? And how to make a profit. The third essential is promotion. And this is where your customer will see it. How will they hear about it? Is it a billboard, magazine ad? Is it a mailer? Is it by referral? See, the key is to know who will buy your product, because if your customer is shopping online, then you want to promote through Facebook ads maybe, or pay-per-click ads. You want to tailor your promotions to your customer base, and your sales strategy will be based on this. So take your time getting these P's right. The last one is placement. And this is, where will your customer buy your product? Who are you selling to is key here, because knowing your customer and how they shop or buy is how you tailor where you're going to place your product. And you want to consider convenience here, because if it's difficult to find your product or buy your product, this will hinder the quantity of sales that you gain. Product, price, and promotion and placement are the 4 essentials to any business idea and vetting out your business plan and how to produce a sales strategy that works. When I first started to unfold my own business idea and started creating my business plan, I thought I was selling marketing plans. I thought I was selling a tangible good. And as I started to vet out my sales strategy, I started to ask myself questions that started to uncover some of the problems that I had with my approach. The first was, so now that I give my customer a marketing plan, what do they do with it? What happens after? Once they have it, how do I get them to come back? How will I maintain clients or my customers? How will I measure success? And how much do I charge for this plan in a crisis? So what's the value, right? To answer these questions, I had to learn one of the most fundamental rules that I can share with you today. And that is, know the 4 Ps of your business. This is a rule that I definitely express to all of my clients and entrepreneurs who are coming into to starting a business. You got to start with your 4 Ps, because your product helps you identify your customer. And your customer tells you everything you need to know to move forward. Your price, this helps you manage your business costs. Pricing your product effectively is how you understand your value in all situations. And it directly links to how your customers' demographics fit into how you're going to sell. Can your customer afford your price? If they can't, you might have priced it incorrectly. Your place helps you maximize your sales. And this is convenience. Anytime you're thinking about placement, you want to think about the convenience of your customer, not you. I want to be very clear about that. This is not your convenience. This is your customer's convenience. Placement is critical to turning a profit because it links to your volume and quantity. And this is how you execute your sales strategy. Where you decide to place your product should be convenient, again, for your target audience. Promotion allows you to craft the right communication strategy that resonates and engages your customer effectively. This is where branding becomes imperative. What will your customer see or hear that will directly address their wants and satisfy their needs? So what needs are you satisfying in the pandemic? The 4 essentials will help you vet this idea. It starts you on the path to understanding how you're going to satisfy wants and needs for your customers, and knowing these 4 Ps and developing your business plan is just half of the battle. Knowing how to execute your business plan is the other half. Over the course of 10 years, I learned not just how important marketing strategy was, but I also learned 10 rules that I recommend all entrepreneurs master if they're going to survive. I'm going to share 3 with you today. And the first is know the 4 Ps of your business. The second is something I learned in 2010 when I got laid off from IBM as a brand manager. This is where it got real because I had no money and my severance package was about to end. And I was like on my living room floor on my 30th birthday, starting Be Your Business. The first rule that I learned was know your value in all situations. I need to pause for a second because this is one where value in all situations is important. So how do you determine value? How much do you charge for it in the middle of a crisis, right? As I mentioned, I was selling marketing plans, or at least trying to. And one of my clients asked me the most fundamental question that changed my life as an up-and-coming entrepreneur. He said, when I handed him a marketing plan, what do you want me to do with this? And I was like dumbfounded because I was like, well, dang, I mean, I thought you could use it to, implement a sales strategy. And his answer back was simple. I thought that's what I hired you to do. The light bulb went off. My value was not to put my ideas on paper and hand it to a client. My value was to help my clients execute and implement this marketing plan that I gave them. And that makes what I'm selling a service, not a product. So the lights went off, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, okay, I had not yet accurately assessed my value. And because I didn't know what problems I was solving or how to satisfy a want or need. In 2011, 1 year into starting my business, companies needed more work for less. They needed the competency of years of experience to do a job, but couldn't afford the health insurance or commit to mid-level salaries due to budget cuts because of the recession. So how can I solve a problem here? My value was that I had 10 years of experience in getting results and meeting bottom lines. So now how do I add value to this economic situation? And who would my customer be? Corporations were looking to recover from the recession and needed marketing consultants that had corporate experience but would work flexible hours. In other words, they needed experts to work temporarily. So now in my business, is that a W-9? Yes. Am I a contractor? Yes. Assessing my value helped me identify my true product, which was a service, my true target customer, estimate my price, and understand how to promote my business and where to place it. Knowing my value in all situations helped me start to adjust my business plan, and now I understood who I was selling to satisfy a want and need. Now there is a good, bad, and ugly to this rule, so let me explain. The good of knowing your value is when you actually know what your price point is, because this helps you negotiate better prices, leverage opportunities, maximize your price point in deals, and assess when you need to partner or collaborate. For example, Beyonce's Lemonade was Sony's biggest earner in the last quarter. So what does this do for Beyonce? How can she leverage her position here? What can she ask Sony? And what doors can she open up with this position? Accurately assessing your value in business allows you to negotiate better contracts, ask for favors or perks. It allows you to call the shots in the deals that you enter into. So pay attention when you're in a good position to leverage deals or open doors to new opportunities. This is where you can maximize your value. Now, I mentioned there is a bad, okay? During my entrepreneurial beginnings out of necessity, the economy started to change. $787 billion was approved by Congress for an economic stimulus package. And this increased job growth. And the economy started to take a turn upward. Now, this was good for the economy, but bad for my business because now my value started to take a downturn. As companies were starting to hire again, positions were being created in companies that were permanent, and the need for temporary marketing consultants were no longer in high demand. My former clients now wanted stability and a dedicated person to implement their marketing strategies in-house. So this change in the economy posed another value challenge for me as my business. See, the bad is when you don't know your value at all. And this can come due to a shifting marketplace like a recession or a pandemic, okay? Not knowing what your product is worth leads you to undervaluing yourself and your product. It leads you to entering into business deals that are upside down, or worse, you miss opportunities. The bad also comes when you don't know when to adjust your price. And that's what was happening for me. Another example of this is Beyonce's Lemonade brings 306 million global streams to Tidal. Now, this would be a good thing. And this is where Beyonce is leveraging her success to maximize opportunities. So when her husband, Jay-Z, struggles to launch his streaming service Tidal, this is where Beyonce actually maximizes her value. So why is this bad? Well, Beyonce is a shareholder of Tidal. And if Tidal struggles, then guess what that does to her pockets, okay? So what does she do? She does not miss this opportunity. She actually exclusively drops her album on Tidal so that she can raise the value of the streaming service. She's now maximizing not only her album sales, but as a shareholder to turn a bad situation into one of value that turns out good for her. Now, as a shareholder, this is a perfect time to ask for more shares at a reduced price. Are you guys getting it? This is how you know your value. If you don't know your value, then you would miss this opportunity to leverage your worth and make decisions that are not in your best interest, or worse, they're counterproductive. Now let's take it from Jay-Z's side. This article is how Beyonce's Lemonade is making $3 million a day while saving Jay-Z's business. What if Jay-Z was stubborn about where the value of Tidal was and its worth? He could have had an ego. I mean, she said he has a big ego, right? So he could have had an ego here and missed this opportunity. But the bad here is that Jay-Z doesn't know his true value, actually. All right. And that's what brings me to the ugly. The ugly is when you think you're worth more than you are. And this leads to entering into the marketplace, competing with others at a price you haven't proven your value to be. See, not knowing your value is one problem, not knowing when to adjust is another, but pricing your product too high is even uglier. When you overvalue your product or price your product too high, you can destroy your reputation, minimize your credibility, and diminish your asking price for the future. This is why pricing your product correctly for your target audience is key. In the example of Jay-Z, he is struggling in his streaming business to compete with iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, and any other streaming service. Why should a customer leave their streaming service at the same price to hear the same music? Why should they pay the same price for a service they already have? And this is where he miscalculated his price. So what does he do? He partners with his wife, Beyonce, to raise the value of the service. Beyonce has loyal fans that will purchase Tidal just to listen to Lemonade. So now we have a why. The customer's why is exclusivity. You switch to Tidal so you can get access to Beyonce's Lemonade. And this was the ultimate reason why people moved over, and it made his price point valuable. Now here's a hustle tip. I recommend when you find yourself in the bad or ugly of not knowing your value or overpricing your product, to partner with someone or something with a value add. The same thing is true for the times that we're in now. The coronavirus pandemic has made many businesses reevaluate their product, price, promotion, and placement. There are many businesses that now have to reevaluate how they're going to turn in-person interactions into remote interactions. Some businesses even have to expand their services they offer due to social distancing, like cosmetology or spa services. These are all businesses that are now in jeopardy. And so the key here in knowing your value in all situations is adapting quickly. Now, since I mentioned the how and the why that impacts your value, let's take a moment to differentiate the how and why your customers buy. And that goes into marketing and branding. What's the difference? Marketing and branding are a lot like peanut butter and jelly. They make a great business sandwich. For those of you who've seen my video, I go into detail about how these two are different. But for today, I'm going to give you some differentiations. Marketing is the how. It's how will your customer hear about your product? How will your customer find your product? How will your customer purchase your product? Branding is the why. Let's say you're selling peanut butter. Why does your customer hear about your product? Why does the customer look for your product? Why are your customers buying the product? To create a successful sales strategy, you're going to have to ask yourself the how and why. Marketing is short-term tactics that lead a person to the why. And branding is long-term communication and imagery that build your reputation or your credibility and explains and influences the customer's why. How and why is kind of how the Jay-Z and Tidal thing worked, right? Beyonce was the why. Branding is the reason someone buys. And marketing is the reason someone thought to buy in the first place. If peanut butter is your product, then how will you get your customer to choose between Jif or Skippy? Or if it's jelly, Smucker's or Welch's? It's important to understand the value of your niche and being specific about the difference so that you can market your business idea strategically is how you start to use marketing and branding. Now, the how and why. Marketing and branding help you understand how you're going to find your customers and why they're going to stay. Adapting to your customers' needs is what sales strategies are developed for. And if you want to stay relevant to your customer, you're going to have to continue to understand their wants and needs. So let's focus on Jif for a second. Why do you think they went all natural? What must have been happening with their customers or in the marketplace for them to offer a natural option? What need or want was Jif trying to satisfy here? Now, there's a lot of research that goes into these things, but some of it has to do with demographics. And like a place where I'm from, like California, where health trends and vegan trends are starting to pop up, companies start to make decisions on how to rebrand and resegment themselves so that they can give their customers a why. The same example is for why they went to go, right? What was their customer wanting or needing that made them offer this option? Something must have been shifting in the marketplace that would make them change their branding for a to-go option. The how and why of your business idea will require you to consider additional segmentation and rebranding. This is how you keep your profits and grow your customer base, especially when things shift in the marketplace, and they certainly will. So what if it happens that you can't get your customers to buy? You don't give them the why. Reese's peanut butter is an example of the bad and ugly of the peanut butter market. I don't know about you, but I've never bought a jar of peanut butter in the store, Reese's peanut butter in the store. Never seen it on the shelves in the peanut butter aisle, never seen it in quantity. But Reese's only makes peanut butter. They're only known for peanut butter. So how are they staying relevant in business? Remember when I mentioned the ugly of not knowing your value, and when you find yourself in this position to partner with someone or something of value? See, their customers were telling them that their peanut butter tended to be on the sweeter side, and so it didn't make a really good choice for a healthy snack, nor was it really good to go along with jelly, okay, because it was too sweet. So Reese's decided to do something about that. They decided to partner with Hershey. This maximized their value because they found their perfect place where sweet peanut butter could be appreciated. And that's in the candy section of the grocery store. Because of this partnership, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups is the #1 selling candy brand with over $2.6 billion in annual sales. Now, this is the peanut butter jelly recipe to turning a sales strategy, and I'm going to give you my tips on it. The first thing you need to do is to identify your 4 essentials: product, price, promotion, and placement. Then you find your niche. Okay, are you a peanut butter aisle or are you a candy aisle? Okay, then develop a sales strategy that tells you how to reach your niche audience, and then you build a brand around that tells this audience why they should buy your product. This is the how and the why. Now, since I emphasized finding your niche, the next rule to master is find your niche. In 2012, I had been 2 years into my business. I've spent blood, sweat, and tears perfecting a business plan that now was shifting drastically. And the problem I solved for my customers was becoming irrelevant. So I had to adjust my business plan. And one of the ways that I did this was by finding my niche. If you're ever going to market to satisfy a want and need, you're going to have to manage the wants and needs. And in entrepreneurship, you'll learn very quickly, you can't please everyone. So master this rule, stay in your lane. So what is a niche? A niche is a small segment. It's when you detail the needs of your target customer. It tailors the price to the demographic you are focused on. And it creates value by offering quality, by being customized to a specific need. And it helps you develop a custom product that targets a specific audience. Remember Jif with its all natural and to go? This is how you start to niche. Some of the questions to ask yourself when niching your product or business idea is, what particular segment of the marketplace has your competition overlooked? If the most prominent player in your market goes away, what opportunities would open up? Is there a service that customers want that your competitor does not supply? This is how you start to get to your niche. So let me give you another example. How do you think the rideshare technology came about? What was the issue? What was the need that they were trying to satisfy? Was it a cost issue? Was it a parking issue in major cities? Was it that you were just someone who didn't want to drive drunk after the club? and you needed some alternative public transportation that wasn't a bus. What was the need that this technology was satisfying? See, the goal here is to identify a niche and to use this to expand your competitive advantage. You want to figure out the benefits that your proposed idea can offer the customer that your competition can't or won't supply. So what were taxis not supplying? See, Sidecar was the first company to market the rideshare concept and technology. However, many people have no idea who this company is, and there's a reason why. Because they're bankrupt now. So what are Uber, Lyft's, and Flywheel's customers, right? How did they come into this marketplace and bankrupt the major competitor? How did they differentiate themselves? And what need were they trying to satisfy? More importantly, what did they do differently to become the dominant players? The quick answer is Uber, Lyft, and Flywheel, they built their brands to accommodate a specific need. And then they marketed to those customers in that niche. See, Uber started out targeting professionals in major cities, needing the convenience and flexibility of getting to work without the hassle of parking and unreliability of hailing a cab on the street. They were going after a professional clientele. So they had town cars and luxury car options in their app. Then they expanded to multinational ride-hailing company offering services that include peer-to-peer ride-sharing, food delivery, and freight transportation. Lyft, on the other hand, targeted the commuter or long-distance intercity carpooling customer. They linked their drivers and passengers through Facebook Connect to niche itself by using their Facebook profile and then the technology and connecting student drivers to passengers so they could learn about each other before they got into the car with a stranger. Lyft grew to be the largest long-distance carpooling company in the United States. Now, Flywheel is a little different because they don't have much of the market share, but they're holding on by the skin of their teeth, and they've been holding on for quite some time. And they decided to target and collaborate with the taxi company and industry directly. Instead of allowing drivers to use their own cars, they chose a fleet approach, kind of like taxis. And if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is a very niche demographic, you'll see Flywheels on every corner like you would see taxis in New York. Flywheel used the same technology, except they targeted the taxi industry so that they can create a specific niche for ride-sharing taxi style. So whether you're a professional or a long-distance commuter or need a ride-share taxi style, this is why you want to find your niche, because this is how you stay in the game. Now, if you look to the right, you'll see a picture that shows an idea, right? Sometimes ideas are not unique. Everybody's using ride-share technology. However, how they niche themselves and how they differentiated themselves is the difference between who stayed and who left. So lastly, just to reiterate, how to find your niche, you want to start with who are your competitors? What markets or market segments do your competitors serve? What benefits do the competitors offer? How can you make them better or fill in the gaps? And why do the customers buy from them? If you start to answer these questions, you're going to get to a niche. And in a pandemic like the one we're in, this rule is vital to keeping your business. Find your niche means you are adapting to what's happening. So if you're a spa or a salon owner right now, you need to start thinking about selling hair care products or wellness products. Shift your business to merchandise or tutorials online so that you can keep your customers engaged and create revenue. Now, revenue is not always easy if you don't truly understand how to maximize your value, okay? And that starts with finding your niche and knowing your customer, because knowing your customer will help you solve problems and sell solutions. The more practice you have with your customer, the more you will perfect your promotional strategy. So what are the needs of your customer? And how and when do you know you have a product people want? Your value proposition is key to answering these questions. And your value is your why. And your why is what you're going to promote. So what do you need to know to create a good value proposition? Now, here's my hustle tip on this. What you want to do is take a sheet of paper and make 3 circles, similar to what you see here. The first circle is going to cover what your customer really wants. Start writing down a whole bunch of ideas of what your customer really wants. The second circle, the value your competitors provide. Start writing a whole bunch of ideas about what you see the value of your competitors providing. The third circle, the value your product provides. Start writing all the things that make you different, okay? Now, what you want to see when these circles start to overlap is what your customer really wants and the value your competitors provide. You want to avoid those ideas. And the reason you want to avoid it is very similar to why Tidal came into the marketplace and nobody understood why they were shifting from their streaming service. There's nothing new about this. I'm already satisfied. So there's no need to give me the same thing. You want to avoid that. You also want to stay out of this lane, which is the value you provide and the value your competitors provide. If they're the same thing, no one cares. And if they're all overlapping, then this is unoriginal. We've already done this. You're not giving me a reason why I should move. So stay out of these overlaps. You want to be right here. This is what your customer really wants and the value your product provides. It does not overlap with your competitor. It's very niched, it's very differentiated, and this is where you thrive. Now, I know these answers may not be easy to find in all of these circles. So as you're building your business plan, when you do your market analysis or your competitive analysis or your SWOT, these are the things you want to start to uncover. These answers may come iteratively, so understanding your industry may help you identify some of these. So again, your customer segments, that's like whether you're going to be all natural or to go. And your market fit is going to be whether you're in the peanut butter aisle or the candy aisle, okay? So this is kind of how you're starting to shift and figure out where your value lies. When you have perfected your value proposition, you will have a clear understanding about who your customer is and how to reach them. And knowing what your customer needs and the value your product has is how you thrive in pandemics and recessions. Finding your niche in an ever-changing business is very hard to do. So the more targeted, the more specific, the more on point you are at anticipating your customers' needs, this is where you will find your niche and where you will thrive. And you will keep your business afloat. Now, I mentioned your marketplace, your market analysis, and your business plan. And so one of the few last things I'm going to share with you is how you can strategically think about your marketing tactics to reassess your customer engagement and how you can find your niche to truly build a great business plan. You will need a solid business plan if you're going to actually execute these ideas and turn a profit. So it should be driven by your marketing strategy, because if you have a good marketing strategy, this will help you identify your objectives, execute tactics, and measure success relating to your sales strategy. Your business plan should serve as your tactical strategy and implementation. It gives you the how that helps you reach your financial goals and manages your resources and time efficiently. It also gives you the why your customers will find value in your product. So today I have just given you a little snippet of what I have learned over the 10 years that I've been in business and some of the roles that I have mastered in these 10 years. But I offer a webinar where I share all 10 rules to master as an entrepreneur and how to implement them. If you liked what you heard today, I would love to take this opportunity to tell you about a webinar I teach called The 10 Hustle Commandments. It's a 60-minute webinar that I created just for entrepreneurs dealing with marketing strategy challenges, or how to, adjust your price point in a pandemic, or to grow your customer base, okay? So if you liked what I've shared today, then definitely take a gander at that or email me, and I definitely would love to have you in the webinar. But I also share tips on my website in the form of a monthly blog called Hustle Tips, kind of some of the ones I gave you today. And I also do 1-hour consults that help develop your business plan and marketing ideas to fruition. So if any of these services sound like something you could use, then don't hesitate to email me. I hope that what I have shared and given you, the little taste that I have given you, will help you think like an entrepreneur and help you vet your business ideas and detail your business plan. And I can't say much more except for I love what I do. I'm very passionate about marketing, and I appreciate GEW for inviting me today to speak to all of you. And with that, I thank you for listening, and hustle harder, entrepreneurs.
All right, awesome. I think we all learned something tonight. Definitely got some great information. And so I want to make sure that, you know, we think about the decisions and choices that we need to make. Thank you, Michael, for sharing your experience and your wisdom to help those hustling to build their brand and elevate their marketing plan. So everyone listening, please be sure to reach out to Mikal Brown for some more guidance, some consulting by visiting her website. Again, it's www.beyourbusiness.com, or look in the chat to get access to her information. We are definitely celebrating this opportunity. It is Global Entrepreneurship Week, a large-scale campaign that encompasses 170 countries with roughly 9 million participants and 35,000 activities ranging from small, casual meetups to massive events and competitions. And so the GEW conference supports the Gwinnett community and the DECA program here at South Gwinnett High School. The 2020 theme, Thriving During a Pandemic, was strategically designed to support teens, college students, new and experienced entrepreneurs, and anyone else who wants to learn about business and innovation. And the goal was to impact the lives of youth, give hope to all entrepreneurs looking for motivation. The planning team understood and throughout history that terrible events have led to great transformations. And so this virtual conference is all about positive transformation. And so GEW Gwinnett would like to inspire change, give hope, and bring about a great experience. And we'll continue the conversations and the conferences throughout this week till November 22nd. So anybody who is interested in getting involved in any capacity can contact our South Gwinnett DECA advisor, Francesca Thompson. You can follow her at SGDECA or at ed_influencer. For more information and conference details, please make sure that you visit www.gewthrive.com. Again, that's gewthrive.com for more information. And so we were taking names today for all of our participants, and we had a drawing, and we do have a winner. And so our winner was Mr. Philip Hayes, who won a $10 gift certificate. So we're going to make sure that we try to contact him and get him his gift certificate. We thank all of the participants for joining us tonight for this great conversation. Continue to plan and to continue to reach out for support. And we're going to make sure that we continue to learn, to grow despite the challenges of this pandemic. And we want to make sure that you network and connect with all of our presenters this week. So again, it is gewthrive.com for more information, and we look forward to your attendance in one of our next events. You all have a great evening.